And I happen to think a really good quarterback is a man named Mason Rudolph. And I think he's going to get a big shot. He's tall, he's handsome, got a great arm. And I have a feeling he's going to be the guy. So Mason Rudolph, come up here. And also a safety who's an absolute killer, Miles Killebrew. Do you know Miles? Come on up here, Miles. Come on up here, fella.
At Donald Trump's rally, the starting quarterback for the 2025 Pittsburgh Steelers, Mason Rudolph, made an appearance. The town is split on his actions. Rudolph would say a few words.
Listen, I'm honored to be here with a great Steeler legend like Rocky Bleier, somebody who fought for our country in Vietnam and came back and played some great football with the black and gold. Awesome to be here, a part of this big investment in Pittsburgh. Go Steelers.
Though he did not command the crowd, Rudolph has quite a history. He is a big, and I mean big, supporter of Fox News's The Blaze's Outkick's Tomi Lahren, including her posts, quote, "Kneeling for Jesus, not Kaepernick." He'd heart this post on Instagram. If one is unfamiliar somehow with Tomi Lahren's game, here it is.
And Colin, how dare you sit there and blame white people for the problems of minority communities? After all, aren't you half white? Didn't two white parents adopt you after yours weren't willing to raise you? And Colin, if this country disgusts you so much, leave.
She would liken, in a tweet, the Black Lives Matter movement to the Triple K, which is rather odd because one party certainly does support the latter and the other one does not.
Lawlessness, thuggery, that's not good for the city of Minneapolis. That's not good for the state of Minnesota. That's not good for this case. That's not good for this country. And this is from a party and a leadership that says that they want unity and they're actively on the ground inciting violence.
That was her take, by the way, on the Derek Chauvin verdict, which seems eerily similar to the newfound support that many in the MAGA movement have, including someone of the ilk like Ben Shapiro, who is calling for Chauvin's pardon. That's where we're at right now. When Lahren went after Jamil Hill and climate change, it did not take Rudolph very long to simp for it on the social media platform of Instagram.
Beyonce didn't reference the Black Panthers to bring about some kind of positive change. She did it to get attention. You, just like President Obama, Jada Pinkett Smith, Al Sharpton, and so many others, just can't let America heal. Keep ripping off the historical Band-Aid. Why be a cultural leader when you can play the victim, right?
Another post online that Rudolph is a fan of, the meme Donald Trump and his team posted showcasing violence for mainstream media, including CNN. However one does feel about that network, where criticisms are absolutely warranted, this was abhorrent. Not to Mason Rudolph, though.
The USA did not win one single gold medal on day one of the competition. Wokeism might be good for the oppression Olympics, but it doesn't seem to transfer to the actual Olympics. Turns out we don't want to watch people who hate our country represent our country. Imagine that. It sure seems like these athletes might want to spend a little less time basking in the glow of the virtue signal and a little more time and energy perfecting their craft.
Obvious BS. Totally obvious. But one point really stands out.
There you go. Mr. President, on behalf of U.S. Steel and to the people of Pittsburgh, more importantly, though, to all the Steeler fans that are here this evening, I have the honor of making you an honorary Pittsburgh Steeler and would like to present to you your jersey with the number 47 as the 47th President of the United States, a number that hangs in the National Football League Hall of Fame. I'd like to present this to a Hall of Fame president. Please accept it.
As one user called out, Pittsburgh Steeler Rocky Bleier, who professes to support veterans as causes, stood today with Donald Trump, who is taking the very lifelines America's veterans rely on. So there is certainly a lot here. And we should also note, it is not a given that Mason Rudolph is going to be the starter because, as we have seen via the reports, Aaron Rodgers being linked with the Steelers, Strom, remains unclear if they will put a pen to the dotted line. Terry Bradshaw, a Pittsburgh Steelers legend, vehemently came out against this potential move by the front office because he thinks that Aaron Rodgers should just go to California, ride off into the sunset, and retire. He said that to a local sports radio station in the state of Arkansas. It would not be a very Steelers-ish move, I must say. Instead of the counterpoint, building from within, keeping it in-house. Mason Rudolph has been there for a while, came out of Oklahoma State. Do they think they have something, or do they think Aaron Rodgers is that much better after coming off an abysmal season with the New York Jets? That's up to them. But what I will say is this. Steeler Nation is looking at this right now, and it feels very split. Very, very split. Miles Killebrew, predominantly a special teams player. Mason Rudolph, the potential QB1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Rocky Bleier, a Steelers legend. What really ruffles the feathers of many in Steelertown is that for Rocky Bleier and those who are veterans or support the vets have been clinging to that last message. And Bleier, a Vietnam veteran, going up there and bending the knee to Trump is really something, I must say. I also am very curious about how former Pittsburgh Steelers feel about this. And I'm actually interviewing one on my podcast, The Brick Strom Show, which you all should go subscribe to on YouTube and leave a comment and a rating on Spotify. And I'm going to ask him about this because I am curious, as another notable Steelers legend, how Bryant McFadden feels about seeing this. Making a president an honorary player, and not just for any team, no disrespect to Carolina Panthers, the Cleveland Browns, the Jacksonville Jaguars, no disrespect. This is a NFL entity for years and the original America's team until the Rooneys decided to pass on that label. True story. And you know who picked it up? Obviously, Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. I'm seeing a lot of chatter online about an incident that occurred a few years ago where Cleveland Browns star defensive end Myles Garrett had his helmet in his hand and nearly hit Rudolph with it. It struck him, but it wasn't clean. And the reports were that Mason Rudolph called Myles Garrett a racial slur. Has not been proven, but that is what many are bringing up once more because of Rudolph's support for someone like Donald Trump. I will also say this, went to private school. That's only part of his history. I highly recommend looking up more of his history. Not that you need it. I believe you have the picture of who he is right now. But I believe that this is passed down because it's not just him, it is his family who support this right-wing media sphere of Brett Baer, Michelle Malkin, many others on the right, predominant figures as well, who will tweet about Donald Trump, their support of, and also this anti-Kaepernick, anti-NFL sort of biases that we see amongst MAGA fans within the National Football League. So I do believe that these sort of antics and the mantras and the mindset was passed down to Mason Rudolph. Nonetheless, I'm very curious to see what more support and or fallout will come from this, and also what the Steelers do with their quarterback room, because Aaron Rodgers is still out there. Not an endorsement. I want to be very clear about this. I think he's damaged goods. But do they bring in Rodgers to push Rudolph? Remains to be seen.